The Miyoo A30 is the latest in the immensely popular series of handhelds. Will it live up to the hype of its previous vertical models or fall flat? Let's find out in our Miyoo A30 review. Before getting on with the review, please take a moment to like and subscribe so you don't miss out on our future videos. Inside the hardshell case we have the Miyoo A30 handheld, a user guide in English and Chinese, a USB Type-C charge cable, and a Type-C to 3.5mm audio cable. The Miyoo A30 is available in 4 colours, red and golden shown here, black and white and grey. They measure around 5.0 by 2.2 by 0.59 inches and weighs 186 grams. The screen is a 2.8 inch IPS with a 640 by 480 resolution that is great for retro gaming. To the left are a D-pad and single analog stick, and to the right are the usual gaming buttons. On the right side is the power button, and the front has a single micro SD card slot for the OS and games. The top side has shoulder and trigger buttons, and in the middle is a menu button, USB port for charging, and the volume buttons. The A30 features the quad-core ARM Cortex-A7 processor and the Mali 400 MP2 GPU, which are the same found in the Mini and Miyoo Mini Plus models, a decent combination for a budget handheld. There's 512 megs of RAM, and the storage is with the included micro SD card, in this case 64 gigs. For communications there's 2.4G Wi-Fi. Keeping it all running is a 2600 mAh battery, which will last you the usual 5 or so hours depending on usage. Like the Mini models, the A30 runs on Linux with a fairly basic but usable menu system. You have the usual recent and favourite shortcuts to games which are always useful. Next, we have the native games menu with systems including Arcade, Mega Drive, Neo Geo and WonderSwan. The RetroArch menu has a wider selection of systems including Pico 8, Neo Geo CD and additional arcade emulators. Simply select a system, browse the available games, pick one and you're straight into the action. Pressing the menu button whilst playing will present options depending whether you're using the native emulator or RetroArch. You will have access to features such as save states, etc. You have the settings menu where you can configure various options including screen brightness, language and Wi-Fi. The menu system does the job just fine. It's fast and easy to use. We are giving away a brand new Miyoo A30 to one lucky winner picked at random. Terms and conditions are on screen. Here is how to enter. First, subscribe to our channel and like this video. And second, answer the following question in the comments. What pre-PS1 era retro console with all of the games would you most like to have and why? One winner will be picked at random after the closing date of August the 4th and posted in a video, so keep an eye out for it. For most of the 8 and 16-bit systems, you should have no problems with performance of the emulators, but we did see some slowdowns in a few arcade and SNES games in particular that can be usually fixed by increasing the CPU frequency in the settings. We will show some of these older systems in our final thoughts part, but first let's take a look at some of the more demanding systems found on the handheld. Overall, the GBA emulators run very well. We tried a bunch of games and had no issues at all.
Islands beckon and crash, Bandicoot with might. Custom characters, a star, court king by the day and night. Vice City glitters on the PSP in my hand. Palm trees swaying, sense of playing, a digital promised land. Stealing rights, fulfilling missions, living large in pixel noir. No real life consequences.
We delayed our review for a while as the custom firmware Spruce OS was released, and it makes a very noticeable difference in performance. Arcade and SNES games have no issues, and N64 and PS1 runs far smoother in the games we tried. As well as the performance increases, we see a nice menu layout with a more organised setup including the options available. In addition to Spruce OS, there is also MinUI, which recently had its initial release for the A30. It has a more basic front end than say Spruce. There's no preview screenshots or box art for example, just plain text menus for fast navigation. The cool thing is, if you have other handhelds, they may also run off the same install, which is useful if you swap handhelds often. It is these custom firmwares that transform a handheld from something that we can't recommend to one that we can recommend. It will mean you will have to install these custom firmwares yourself though. We have some guides linked in the description for how to install them. Also, please let us know in the comments what you think of custom firmwares. Is installing a custom firmware the first thing you do with a new handheld, or do you stick with the stock? Do you think manufacturers should work with these custom firmware developers to use them as default? We are very interested to know, so please do leave a comment. We will include the best ones in a forthcoming video. The Miyoo A30 is a mix of good and bad for me. As a very portable retro gaming handheld, it feels about right. It will fit in your jeans pocket just fine. It's great if you are travelling and want something quick to access and play on. The performance on stock firmware for me is the main issue. We saw low performance on Dreamcast and PSP, compared to say the Anbernic RG35XX SP or any H700 CPU based handheld, which are very similar in price to the A30. We see overall faster performance on those without having to overclock. So if you plan to stick to the stock firmware, I would recommend to consider something like the Anbernic handhelds. They have faster performance on stock firmware for around the same price. If custom firmware is an option for you, the improved user experience and performance you get with them makes the Miyoo A30 definitely one to consider. Let us know what you think about the A30 in the comments. Do you plan on buying one? You can learn more about the Miyoo A30 and order yours today at DroiX.co.uk or DroiX.net for worldwide shipping. That wraps up our Miyoo A30 review. We hope you have found it useful. Please take a moment to subscribe so you won't miss out on our next video, and we hope to see you back in the next one.